Dear learners, welcome to this audio-visual session on social stratification, which is the Unit 5 from the paper Sociology and Introduction, meant for the Sociology learners of MA first semester. After going through this unit, you will be able to know the meaning and the characteristics of social stratification, recognize different forms of social stratification, and understand different perspectives of social stratification. Now, we all know that social inequality refers to the phenomenon of socially created inequalities, and social stratification is a particular form of social inequality. It refers to domination of the social groups into different strata where one group is above the other in terms of the amount of power, prestige, and wealth. The members of a particular strata will share similar lifestyle on the basis of which they will distinguish themselves from the members of the other strata. For example, the caste system is in India is an example of social stratification. So the society in a tea estate also provides another example of social stratification, where there is a clear-cut distinction between the members of the class of the laborers and the management in terms of power, prestige, and wealth. Now let us discuss the characteristics of social stratification. First is antiquity, which means that it is an ancient social system. According to archaeological records, stratification was present even in the small wandering bands existing in the earliest days of human society. In such primitive societies, both age and sex along with physical strength must have been important characteristics of social stratification. Then ubiquity. Social stratification is found in all the societies. It is present in non-literate societies where tradition is largely oral, and it is also present in highly developed and complex societies. Then we have social patterning. The social patterning can be seen in 5 different aspects that are mentioned below. Now, first of all, social stratification is a system that defines the social and the cultural life associated with clearly. For example, each class or class has a pattern of life. To maintain that pattern of stratification, each system of stratification is associated with certain norms and sanctions. To ensure the existence of the pattern, each stratification system strives to socialize the younger generation. Then every system of stratification is concerned with the or connected with other systems of a society like the polity, economy, family, kinship system for its proper functioning. Now, despite these mechanisms, now the system of social stratification has been inherently unstable because from time and again it has been challenged. Then we have seen that there are different types of social stratification, which we will discuss in this unit. Then there are different consequences of social stratification. As a result of social stratification, people experience different lifestyles and different life chances, which often lead to discrimination. So we have already discussed that there are diverse forms of social stratification. Now let us discuss some of those. First of all, the caste system. Now, caste system is a form of social stratification that we find in India. It is one of the most pervasive forms of social stratification. This system stratifies the Hindu society into 4 varnas, namely the Brahmin, the Kshatriyas, the Vaishyas, the Shudras, and the outcasts, who are known as the Panchamas. Now, people who are born into one caste initially were not allowed to join other occupation, which maintained the superiority of some, and a minority used to exploit the majority. However, time and again this system has been challenged. Then we have class as a form of social stratification. The concept of class is a useful category to understand the social stratification in modern or in complex societies. Basically, class as a form of social category refers to a group whose members have similar economic conditions, maintain a similar lifestyle, and adhere to similar ideologies. According to Karl Marx, private property is the sole reason of social stratification, which determines the class of a particular social group. Those who own private property do not own the private property are bound to work for others, which leads to exploitation. For example, many laborers who work in a factory may be exploited because the laborers might not have any other employment avenues. Then, ethnicity is also a form of social stratification. According to Oxford Dictionary of Sociology, individuals who consider themselves or are considered by others to share a common characteristics which differentiate them from other groups in a society and from which they develop distinguished cultural behavior forms an ethnic group. The term ethnicity was coined in contrast to race, which is often seen in biological terms. So in societies where there are many ethnic groups, like in Assam, some socio-economic and political forces make one or few ethnic groups dominant over the others. Other subordinate ethnic groups exert less power corresponding to their place in the hierarchy, which leads to inequality and discrimination in many contexts. Now, gender is also a form of social stratification. But before trying to understand gender as a form of social stratification, let us first try to understand what is gender. Now, at birth, we are born with a particular reproductive organ, which is known as sex of an individual. In case of intersex people, it might be ambiguous, but on the basis of the reproductive organ, the society decides and shapes the likes, dislikes, attitudes and choice of an individual, and that is known as gender. For example, it is the society which socializes a boy or a man that he or she should not express themselves emotionally, or that a girl is not supposed to be assertive. So on the basis of gender, society stratifies individuals into three different strata, that is men, women and the third gender, and each gender is granted different access to power, prestige and choice, which has been challenged in the recent times. Now there are many theories in sociology which explains the existence of this system. We all have already discussed that it is those forms that reproduces social inequality, but why these systems are still existing? Now these theories will explain those. First of all, the functionalist theory. The functionalist theory claims that every system that exists in a society has a certain function, and that is why these systems has been existing in society from so long. So to them, social stratification too has been existing in society since time immemorial, because it has a certain function in the society, and to them this system allows the most capable person to attain the highest position. The differential awards in the form of unequal power, prestige and wealth, according to them, would ensure that the people strive for the difficult tasks. However, this theory has been criticized by many other scholars and other schools of thought. And one of those schools of thoughts that has criticized the functionalist school of thought is the Marxian perspective. Now, Karl Marx is a chief proponent of this perspective. According to Marx, as we have already discussed in the previous section, private property is the sole reason that led to the creation of different stratas, which he says different classes which stratified the society. So during the feudal order, there existed two main classes in terms of their relationship with the forces of production, that is land. So during the feudal age, land was the most important property. So the feudal lords who owned that private property or land would make the landless serfs or the landless laborers to work on those land, and in the process those landless laborers were exploited. Similarly, in the capitalist society, two main classes, the bourgeois or the capitalists, own the means of production, such as the capital, the factory, the raw materials, etc. And the proletariat or the working class, who do not have anything, are bound to work for those capitalists. And while working, they are exploited. So because they are bound to work at a cheaper rate. The class who owns the means of production, or the haves, emerge to be the exploiters and the oppressors, and the others, the have-nots or the proletariats who do not own the means of production, are dependent on the haves, and gradually they are exploited and oppressed. Thus, the relationship between the two classes become antagonistic. So, in other words, according to Marx, the class is the prime criteria that stratifies a particular society. Now, let us discuss the Weberian perspective. And Max Weber is the proponent of this perspective. According to Max Weber, property, according to Marx, it is economy. Property, power and prestige are three separate yet interacting bases of social stratification. So according to him, economy is not the only basis of social stratification. To Weber, those who share similar economic position or class situation also share similar lifestyle. For example, the individual having high economic status will have access to higher education, quality housing and other good medical facilities. Then status group. According to Max Weber, status groups are formed on the basis of common amounts of socially ascribed prestige or honor. Now, status group, caste is an example of status group. For example, a poor high caste person may be highly respected in a village in India. So it is not just economy that decides the power prestige of an individual, but it is also the status groups which determines the power and prestige of a particular social group. Then the third form of power or stratification is party. By party he meant the political parties. According to him, these are it provides social power. For example, people who are associated with political parties may have more say and respect in a particular area. So, according to Weber, economy is not the only basis of granting people unequal power, prestige and opportunities. So, in this video, we have discussed about the meaning, characteristics and different theories associated with social stratification. Hope you all have understood and will go through this in your SLMs. Thank you.